Let's read poem today, and this poem is written by Thomas Hardy. So, this is a poem Weather, and it's a very beautiful poem written by Thomas Hardy. I would like to listen this poem sung by Henry James. She has sung very beautifully. Now, there are two pictures given in this poem in the text. Now, I would like you to see both pictures and guess picture number 1, what are the things and activity happening there, and picture number 2, what are the things happening differently from the picture number 1. I hope you have done this thing, and your guessed answer is this one. I have written here what things are happening in the picture number 1 is children are playing and birds build their nest and sing, and atmosphere look very happy because. So, in picture number 1 I guessed you have found these many activities. Let us see, children are playing and birds are flying and building their nest, and they may be singing as well, and environment seems very happy because the day is sunny, and building is also a big building is seen behind. So, in the picture number 1 these things I hope you have guessed when you have had a lesson in a class. Now, in picture number 2 let us see what is happening and how it is different from the picture number 1. In picture number 2 people are sitting and enjoying the warmth of fire. They are not going outside, they might be feeling very cold, weather seems very dull, and all are inside, and birds are also very silent, and all are inside the home. So, in the picture number 1 the activities are just taking place, and in picture number 2 all seem very silent without doing much activity. Now, let us see the poems. This poem has 2 stanzas, stanza number 1 and stanza number 2. So, in this poem the poet has expressed his feeling towards the nature. So, let us see, this is the weather the cuckoo likes and so do I. He says that this is the weather the cuckoo here is a bird. The cuckoo likes, the poet also likes, therefore he said that and so do I. And when showers be tumble, chestnut spikes. Shower, when there comes a rain, a beautiful rain, then showers be tumble, chestnut spikes. Chestnut here is a tree, a kind of tree which contains a red and brown color fruit, and so whenever there is a beautiful shower comes very gently, and the chestnut, the tree mentioned by the poet here, spikes in this, the fruit of the tree must be falling down, and it spikes the human being. And the little brown nightingale builds his best, and they sit outside at the traveller's rest. So, builds here in the sense is sings. So, you know the other bill also, the bill which we pay in the restaurant, but here we are talking about the bills, the bird bills, means the bird sings, and they sit outside at the traveller's rest. So, birds come outside and they sit in the wherever the place, traveller's rest, the place where people used to take rest and wait for a while, and birds are also enjoying the beautiful day, and they are also sitting here and there. It is just according to the poet in a general sense. And maids come forth, sprig, muslin, and citizens dream of the, and maids come forth, sprig, muslin dressed, and citizens dreams of the south and west, and so do I. So, here it means that maids, a young girl, maid here means a young girl, they come forth, you know the girls always come in very decorated dress and beautiful dress, but here in the poem come forth, sprig, muslin here is a thin cotton cloth. So, these young girls come outside wearing a thin cotton cloth, because in the summer we mostly use the cotton clothes. And citizens dream of the south and west, and so do I, and I think so do you. So here in the sense that in this poem, people are moving from east to west, west to east. The weather is very beautiful and good. So they are enjoying the beautiful nature, the beautiful sunny day in the very first stanza. And now in the second stanza, this is the weather, the shepherd shuns, and so do I. So here in the second stanza, it is the very first line says, this is the weather, shepherd shuns. Who are shepherds? Shepherd shuns. Shuns here, avoid or dislikes. So this stanza describes maybe a village scenario where all animals used to graze in a very beautiful and green grassland, and this is the weather, the shepherd, because the poet has mentioned the shepherd. Shepherd in Nepali I think is a gothalo. So they used to take their animal for grazing in a grassland, and so this is the weather the shepherd shuns. So in the second stanza, this kind of weather, shepherd also don't like to go outside. They avoid it, they hate it. So the poet does. When beeches drip in browns and dun. Beeches here is also mean a kind of tree. A kind of tree. So beeches drip in brown and duns, turn into a grey color, and thresh and ply. So here due to the weather, so the color of the trees, leaves also change in a different, because of the very painful situation of the weather, and hill and thresh and ply. Thresh here means move wildly, and ply means regularly. So in this kind of weather, when beeches drip in, when the trees are just beeches drip in, so trees are falling down because of the, maybe because of the very strong wind, and the leaves of the color changes, and regularly this kind of weather makes the environment very unhappy, very dull. And hill, heat, tides, throb and throw. So hill means here maybe mountains, so that is just covered by the tides, and throb, throw and throw is a very lyrical and a rhyming, that the continuous pain, continuous kind of pain is just hitting the environment, maybe stormy weather, it's very raining horribly, and so this kind of thing is making the weather very, very bad and terrible. And meadow rivulets overflow. Rivulets here, streams of river. Rivulet. And meadow rivulets overflow. The streams of river is overflown. When it overflows, when there is a lots of raining. And drops on gate bars hanging in a row. And you can just, poet is expressing his imagination and desire that he can see the drops of water just falling on the gate. Because of this, the situation scenario has been developed. And rooks in families homewards go. Rooks here a kind of bird. And the dictionary meaning says the rooks is a kind of bird, especially from the crow family. So rooks in families homewards go. Because of this bad weather, so birds go homewards. They don't want to stay there, and so do I. The poet says, so does he, and so you do. We all don't like the very bad weather, terrible weather, while the first weather is very beautiful, the sunny day, summer, where birds are singing, but in the second stanza, the weather is terrible. So in this poem, what we have found, let's see. The first stanza we have guessed this meaning. Is it just matching with the stanza given in the poem? Let's see. So what are the things happening here in the first stanza is the weather. So we have seen that the weather of course must be summer or spring, which is beautiful, and birds sing, bills given in the text, and nestlings flying. Nestling fly. So let's see what we have written in the picture 1 is matching with the given in the stanza 1 given by the poet. Let's see. In the first stanza, the poet is saying that cuckoo likes. This is the weather liked by cuckoo, and as we have said, the weather is very sunny. Showers be tumble, chestnut spikes, a beautiful tree, and nestlings means baby birds are flying because they are happy, and nightingale is singing because the weather is very cool, and they sit outside at the traveller's rest. So they are sitting at outside where people used to get rest for a while, and citizens mean people in general, they are moving from one place to another. The sense of south and west is they are moving from one place to another for their general work, and the poet also likes, he says, and so does he. And in the second, like we have, people are sitting and enjoying the warmth of fire, but in the second stanza we can see that people are not doing much movement. They are not traveling from one place to another. They are just sitting and having the warmth of fire, and everything is seen so quiet. Birds are not singing, they are silent. Human being also just sitting and having the warmth of fire. And the weather's description is given very beautifully by the poet, that when the weather becomes so bad, it affects directly, indirectly the human being and nature, like the mountains are hidden by the overflow of the rivulets, and the birds also leave that place and go to their homewards, and a regular kind of pain, the pain which is created by the bad weather, that is mentioned in this stanza number 2. Now let's have some word and its meaning. So dear students, just now we have seen in this poem that there are 2 types of weather mentioned in the poem. In the first stanza, the weather is very beautiful, very sunny day, and people are doing various activity. But in the stanza 2, the weather is terribly bad. The poet also doesn't like the second stanza, but he likes the first stanza, means the first kind of weather he likes. It shows the mood of the poem as well. From the examination point of view, we have to read the poem, because the poem sometimes come as a scene passage in the exam. So when you read the poem very first time, you just read it, and when you read second time, then underline the poems, the difficult words, as I had done previously, the words which you feel difficult, and use your dictionary and write the meaning over there on the book as a footnote or just nearby. And then afterward read it for the third time, and then we can get the general meaning, and some meanings I have written on the board. It may be helpful for you. Let's see, like bill in the text it is given. So as I have said, the another meaning of bill is the bill which we pay in the restaurant, that is the bill. But here the bill means sing in the poem. Drip, fall or let fall in a small drops. And thresh, move wildly. So the thresh in the second stanza is mentioned here, means move wildly. Then throb, beat or sound with a strong rhythm, a pain. And then ply, travel regularly over a route. The regular traveler from the same route. And rook, a bird of the crow family, especially mentioned from the crow family, in the sense maybe the bird is blackbird, all the blackbirds, it may refer to that. And muslin, this is pronounced as muslin, not muslin. So the correct pronunciation is muslin, thin cotton cloth. So girls were wearing, the young girls were wearing. So when we take out the meaning for our personal study like this, it will be very helpful to do the synonyms and antonyms. Now let us see some examples of some synonyms and antonyms. First, the synonyms. Now you can guess the meaning from the text. Baby birds. Just now we have seen that what are the baby birds called? In the text it is given. So, nestling, nestlings fly, it is written nestlings. And young girl. So, young girls come in muslin, thin cotton clothes. So, young girls here in the text you can see, you can find the word maids. And then dislikes, this is the weather the cuckoo shuns. So, dislikes, shuns. And sings, just now I have said sings means bills, bills, bird bills. Thin cotton cloth, muslin. In this way we can do the synonyms and recognize the synonym from the text. Rain, showers be tumble. Do you remember? Showers. And a kind of tree. Yes, I have written, when I have written the stanza on the board, you might have noticed there were two kinds of trees. A kind of tree. One was chestnut, and beeches also mentioned there. Beeches. The difference between is chestnuts has a red and brown fruit, but beeches is just a kind of tree. And name of an inn. So, people just used to take rest for a while, those kind of place. Name of an inn, Travelers Rest. Travelers Rest. So, this is the word given in the text and you are told to find the synonyms. And after synonyms we are moving to antonyms. Antonym means opposite words. Opposite. And synonyms, similar meaning. Now let us see antonyms of hates. This is the weather the cuckoo likes. The very first line says the opposite of hates, likes, loves, but loves is not there. So, likes, whatever is given in the text as per the question. Then big, yes, the little is mentioned there instead of small. And inside, very easy, you can guess outside. And what is the next one? Go, come. The girls come outside in muslin dress. So, these are the synonyms, antonyms, and this is the word meaning, and I just would like to recapitulate the poem. So, in this poem is written by Thomas Hardy and he belongs to the period 1840 to 1928, and so in this poem he has tried to express the two different moods through the weather, natural weather. The first weather is very good, the second weather is not so good. People do not like the second weather. In the second stanza, the first weather is liked by all, and I hope you too like the first kind of weather, the very sunny day, and thank you. Hi, this is Babita. Welcome to this lesson. Today we are going to read a poem. The name of the poem is Knowledge. So I have drawn two pictures for you. So though it is not very good, so you can see two pictures on the board, picture number 1 and picture number 2. You have to see these pictures very carefully, and it's already given in your textbook as well. And what are the differences in these two pictures, and what is the relationship, and what are the things given in these two pictures? You have to see, watch and analyze it. So I guess you have already done the task, and let's see now In the very first picture, you can see a man. You can see a man, he is sowing the seed. You can see a man in the field, sowing a seed. Seeds in picture number 1. So all around there is a field and there is a man and he is just throwing the seeds in the field. It means he is sowing the seed. And in the picture number 2, you can see there is a girl. There is a girl and a book in her hand. A book in her hand. So now you can guess what she must be doing. So she is reading a book. She is reading a book. Do you find any difference in these two pictures? Of course, yes. In this picture, a man is sowing the seed, but in this picture, a girl is reading a book. But I would like to connect this. Do you think any relationship between these two? What is the relationship? What is the relationship between these two pictures? I just would like you to guess. Maybe this girl will read and afterwards she will become a farmer. Is it so? So let's guess what the poem says. Okay. So we can see this poem Knowledge is written by Eleanor Farjeon. So she has very beautifully discussed these things in a poem, and when you study this poem then you will get to know the relationship between these two pictures. Knowledge. Your mind is a meadow to plant for your needs. So here the poet had said your mind. So he had compared a mind with a meadow. The first line, she is saying that, the poet is saying that your mind, means human being mind, is a meadow, and you must be knowing that meadow means a grassland. A grassland. So meadow means a grassland which is very fertile, beautiful, everyone would like to see it. And to plant for your needs, you are the farmer. So what she is saying, what poet is saying is, this is a meadow and this is a meadow, a grassland, beautiful land, and you are the farmer. Who is the farmer? You yourself. So therefore this man is sowing the seeds in the farm. You are the farmer with knowledge of seeds. So you yourself is a farmer and you have to sow the seed of knowledge. That's what poet meant to say. Therefore, now you are going to get the relationship between these two pictures. This is a man and she is a girl and she is reading, he is sowing the seeds. And what poet had started is, your mind is a meadow, a grassland where you have to sow the seeds. With knowledge of seeds, this seeds is compared with knowledge. These seeds are compared with knowledge here, which is given by the book. So knowledge. Here the Eleanor Farjeon comparing seeds with knowledge and your mind with the meadow. Your mind with the meadow, beautiful meadow and grassland. So Don't leave your meadow unplanted and bare. The poet is saying that there is a field and you never have to leave your field bare without planting it. You have to plant it. You cannot leave that field empty. So that's why she is saying that never leave your field unplanted. So she is saying that never leave your field unplanted. And next what she says, sow it with knowledge and tend it with care. So the poet is saying that once you sow the seed, first never leave your field unplanted, and then you sow the seed. After sowing the seed, you have to care it. Care it. So sowing the seed is only not enough, you have to care it. Who would be a know-nothing when he might grow? The seeds of knowledge. So, and another point, she is saying that would know nothing in the sense, know nothing. Know nothing here means ignorant. You have to sow your seed in time. You should not sit like this. You should not be ignorant. You should know when you have to sow your seeds in time in the field, and you should not leave your field bare. You never leave your field unplanted. Sow the seed, care it, and know nothing. You should never be know nothing. It means you should never be an ignorant. Now let's see what she says further. When he might grow the seeds of knowledge of stars and snow. Now she is talking about the knowledge of stars and snow, and we can guess here knowledge of stars and snow. Stars and snow. It must be which subject? Which subject teaches us about the star and snow? It must be astrology. Astrology, or we can also say yes, of course, science. Science word is already used in the poem. So you should start. So what kind of seed? There are various kinds of seeds in the market, but here the seeds is compared with the knowledge, and so you are getting the knowledge of science, knowledge of stars, moon, sun, that is studied in astrology. The science of numbers, the stories of time. Then he said that the science of numbers, we may guess that is maths. Science of numbers, that is maths. And then the stories of time. The stories of time, the stories which you read in the past, that must be history. Stories of time. And then the magic of music, the secrets of rhyme. The other thing is magic of music. So here music. Music is a very beautiful subject. Everyone likes it, and everyone really like to shake their body with the rhythm of the music, because it has a universal language. Everyone enjoys it. So music. And the another important thing also, she said that is the secrets of rhyme. The secrets of rhyme. Secrets of rhyme. Yes. So she is talking about here secret of rhyme. You might have read, or you might have sung that nursery rhyme when you were in junior classes. Now let's see that nursery rhyme now. Okay, now let's see the secrets of rhyme. As just now we have studied that the knowledge of different seeds like of stars and snow. Knowledge of stars and snow is here science or astrology. Specifically speaking, astrology, here science, the poet had spoken about. And numbers, science of numbers, maths, and story of time, history, and one more thing she has said about the magic of music. Everyone likes the magic of music. And then secrets of rhyme. Now I would like you to think about the little past flashback. Come to flashback of your life when you were in junior classes and when you have learned this. You can see on the board Baba Black Sheep and Johnny Johnny. And let's sing now. Like you have sung like maybe in a different way. Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. 1 for my master and 1 for Hodan, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. Okay, so you might be having fun. So this nursery rhyme we have heard in our junior classes, and you know, when there is a rhyming words, then we learn that poem very, very quickly. I learned when I was in class 3, and still I remember because of the secrets of rhyme and because of the magic of music. It's very beautiful. And so here you can say, Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. Now you can see wool full, and 1 for the master and 1 for Hodan. Hodan must be someone's name, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. Hodan lane. So this is rhyming, and because of this rhyming, the lines, the lyrics sounds very beautiful when we sing. And one more. Johnny Johnny, yes papa, eating sugar, no papa, telling lies, no papa, open your mouth, ha ha ha. And this is very, very popular. You might have heard this also. And now let's see here. Johnny Johnny, yes papa, eating sugar, no papa, telling lies, no papa, open your mouth, ha ha. Papa, papa, papa. All 3 are papa. And here Johnny, yes papa, here no papa, here also no papa. So in this way, child learns very, very fast when the things are in very beautifully rhyming. When things are rhyming, when words are rhyming. So they learn it very beautifully. So now what poet further says, now let's see. As I talk about, she had talked about now 5 things in the poem. These are compared with the seeds of knowledge. These are compared with seeds of knowledge. Seeds of knowledge, these 5 subjects she is talking about. Don't be a know-nothing. An exclamatory mark is there. She is again saying that don't be an ignorant. You should know this thing. You should read this thing. This thing, maths, history, music, secrets of rhyme. So all these things you should know it, you should learn it, you should read it time. You should not leave it bare. If you don't learn it, it means just I have written previously as you are leaving your field unplanted and bare. And plant in the spring and see what harvest the summer will bring. So you have to plant in time. You have to plant in spring. Spring is compared here or just symbolically used here. It means spring here means in time, because if you don't do things in time, even though you do it later on, it becomes useless. Now let's see what further she says in this poem. And Plant in the spring. Spring is symbolically used in time. Spring is appropriate time. So, spring symbolically used here means in time. You have to plant your seeds in time, means appropriate time. If you don't sow your seed in time, it will be useless. And see what harvest the summer will bring. And the poet is saying that after a hard working, after sowing the seed in your field, so after sowing a seed in your field, you will see what harvest it will bring, means what result, outcome. So you can see after sowing the seed, you can harvest the crops. So in the field, after sowing the seeds in summer, you harvest your crops and you enjoy the delicious foods which you get from that field. But now let's see from the beginning what poet has tried to say and convince us. Like, these are the knowledge of seeds, and you have to read this thing, these subjects, basic subjects, but you have to read these subjects in proper time, appropriate time. When you are 80 years old, you cannot say that I would like to study in class 10, because it won't be the appropriate time. This is one dimension of thinking. So the poet is saying that during the springtime, or at the proper time we used to grow our seeds, at the proper time you have to get your education, you have to study. Now let's recapitulate these points. I hope you have remembered and you have understood what I shared with you, what Eleanor Farjeon had said. So first she said that your mind is a meadow. Whose mind? Your mind, especially students' mind. And other thing she had said, you are a farmer. You are a farmer. You yourself is a farmer. In the sense, you are a learner. You are a learner. So, and next what she says is, with knowledge of seeds, so you have to sow the seeds. Sow the seeds of knowledge. So, seeds are compared with knowledge here. And what she says, don't leave your meadow unplanted and unbare. Don't leave bare and unplanted. So it should be very clear to you, don't leave your field bare and unplanted. And what she says, not only so, but care it, nurture it. So, and the seeds of knowledge of stars, she is talking about seeds, knowledge. 5 types of knowledge, as I have discussed with you. Astrology, then she talked about Stories of time, of course, history. And then she had talked about music. And then she had also talked about secrets. Secrets of rhyme. Now, so she is saying that these 5 kinds of knowledge you must get in time. The science of numbers, stories of time, the magic of music, the secrets of rhyme. Don't be a know nothing. She again say, don't be an ignorant. So don't leave bare and unplanted here. It means ignorant. Don't be an ignorant. Don't be an ignorant. So she had used the phrase like know nothing. Don't be a know nothing, which means don't leave bare and unplanted. Don't be an ignorant. You have to learn. You have to study. You have to read to be educated. And plant in the spring. This is very important. Plant in spring. Spring symbolize time. Not only time but appropriate time, because for everything we have got appropriate time to do it, to perform it, to act it. Now, and see what harvest the summer will bring. Lastly, she is talking about the result. Result, outcome. And now, to simplify it, I just would like to say, you read the knowledge of science and then you are just interested in research, and then you become a scientist, you become a doctor, you become a teacher, you become a professor or any other field, you become a great businessman. So this is the outcome, that is the result which poet wants to say. Now, so these are the things. Your mind is a meadow, the poet has said, yes, your mind is a meadow. Mind is compared with a meadow, a grassland which is fertile, but you have to sow your seeds in time. And you yourself is a farmer. No one is going to sow the seeds in your field. You yourself have to sow the seeds in your meadow, means you yourself have to learn. Sow the seeds of knowledge. So as I said, seeds is compared with the knowledge, and knowledge is just, she has divided in these 5 things. And don't leave bare it, don't leave unplanted, and don't leave empty. So, and care it and nurture it. Not only you have to sow yours, but you have to care it, nurture it, which means you have to take care. When you learn it, you have to transform yourself through your education, through the knowledge you have learned. And so these are the knowledge, these are the various seeds you can say, and plant in spring, which is in appropriate time, and the result you will see, that will be very, very excellent. I hope you have enjoyed the class. Thank you so much for listening me. So let's do some exercises. What does the poet want us to plant in our minds? So I expect answer from you. So can you guess the answer? Yes, definitely. So the poet wants us to plant in our mind is seeds of knowledge. Seeds of knowledge. What does the poet want us to plant in our mind? The poet wants us to plant in our mind seeds of knowledge. What does a know nothing mean? Here, know nothing means don't be an ignorant. So you have to be a learner, not be an ignorant. Next is, what does she think we can learn about? What does she think we can learn about? So she had talked here about the science, she had talked about the astrology, history, maths, music and rhyme, secrets of rhyme. So these are the thing. What does she think we can learn about is, so you can write that she is talking about this thing, these types of seeds. What does the spring mean when the poet says plant in the spring? So the poet is talking about the time. The spring here means symbolically spring here means an appropriate time, an appropriate time. So the last but not least, why does the poet call the reader a farmer? The poet called the reader a farmer because reader has to learn So, the poet called the reader a farmer because farmers sow the seeds and reader has to read themselves. They have to learn themselves. So, these are the exercise from this poem. Hi, welcome to this class. Today we are going to study the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear, written by Rabindranath Tagore. So, let's see some introduction about this poem. Actually, this poem is taken from the book entitled Prarthana, which means prayer, and it is written during the time when India was under the British rule. So, this poem has got a spirit of nationalism. So, let's see one by one. First, I would like to read the poem and then I'll just explanation also side by side. The title itself is Where the Mind is Without Fear. Did you see the title, Where the Mind is Without Fear? If we put a question mark, so what will it be? So, where the mind is without fear. Where the mind is without fear. So, where the mind can be without fear. And he had given some conditions given here. Before begin this poem, a picture is given in your textbook. You can look on page number 42. So, where it has given a picture and asked the questions. How many different races can you recognize? त्यो पिक्चरमा कति टाइपको कति विभिन्न रेसेसहरु देखाएको छ भन्ने पिक्चर्समा क्वेशन सोधेको छ. सो व्हाट इज द मिनिङ अफ द पिक्चर? दुईटा क्वेशन छ. सो व्हाट आई वुड से देयर आर वेरियस रेसेस एन्ड the meaning of the picture is, you can see there are so many races, various races, but they are together. What it shows is, what I would say is unity in diversity. अनेकतामा एकता. धेरै जातिको विभिन्न जातिको मान्छेहरू भए पनि सँगै उनीहरूको एउटै जो कुरा हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ मानवता, humanity. So this poem shows the humanity, togetherness, unity. Let's read the poem. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. So, this is a concluding line of the poem. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. So, the poem had given lots of strength to the freedom fighter. As I have said in the very beginning of the poem that, so this poem was written during the time when the Britishers have ruled ruled the India. So that time this poem must have written. So it contains a feeling of nationalism. So and this poem was an inspiration for those people who were really struggling for the freedom in the country. They want their India to be freed from all those rules of Britishers. Now, line number 1, 2, as it is written, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. So, two things the poet has talked about in these two lines. The head is held high, and the second is knowledge is free. In what conditions knowledge is free, and how the knowledge can be free, and when the head can be held high. So this is an issue. Free from any fear of oppression. Oppression यहाँ भनेको exploitation, अत्याचार. अत्याचार. So, talking in Nepali, yeah, freedom, any fear of oppression. यिनीहरूले जो अत्याचार उनीहरूमाथि ब्रिटिशर्सले गरिरहेको थियो त्यो बेला, because this poem contains a history. यो पोएमको आफ्नै ऐतिहासिक ब्याकग्राउन्ड छ. अनि त्यसमा चाहिँ उनीहरू चाहिँ अंग्रेजले गरेको अत्याचारबाट मुक्त हुनु चाहेको. यो पोएटको आइडियाज चाहिँ यो पोएमको थ्रु यही दिनु चाहेको. फ्रीडम फ्रम एनी फियर अफ अपरेसन. कुनै पनि डर, अत्याचारको डर. अर्को के, हेड हाई. हेड हाई. हेड इज हेल्ड हाई. एक्चुअली head is held high. Head is held high in dignity भनेको आफ्नो देशमा मजाले इज्जतले आफ्नो टाउको उठाएर जिउनु सकोस् भनेको भन्नाले हेड इज हेल्ड हाई. कुनै पनि किसिमको डर अत्याचार सहनु नपरोस्. त्यो भनेको चाहिँ एउटा रिस्पेक्ट, एउटा डिग्निटी आफ्नो देशमा त्यो पाउनु सकोस् भन्ने कुरा हो. सो हेड इज हेल्ड हाई इन डिग्निटी, रिस्पेक्ट in their own country. And education should not be restricted to the upper class only. यहाँ रविन्द्रनाथ ट्यागोरले भन्दैछ शिक्षा भनेको खाली त्यो अप्पर क्लासको मान्छेलाई मात्रै नहोस्, उच्च वर्गको मान्छेलाई नहोस्, तर त्यो एडुकेसन शिक्षा भनेको प्रत्येक जनालाई के अरे शिक्षाको अधिकार होस्, शिक्षित हुनु पाओस् भन्ने उसको सेन्स. सो द पोइट इज सेइङ दैट everyone should get education. It should not be restricted only to the upper class, and everybody should be free to acquire knowledge. Everybody should be free to acquire knowledge in the sense that education should not be based on gender, should not be based on caste distinction. So he has again said two things about education. Education should not be based on gender discrimination and other caste distinction. It is in the sense that education, like girls are not sent to school in those days. Only boys were sent to school, so girls were discriminated, so gender biasness. And other thing is caste. Those who were in the upper class, they used to go to school and get education, and for other caste, they were not given free education. So they were not allowed to get education at all. So now poet wishes for a world not fragmented by prejudices, wishes for a world not fragmented by prejudices based on caste, creed, color, religion, other baseless superstitions. So, poet is wishing for a country, a place, a world where there must not be any discrimination and there must not be any prejudices which is based on the caste, creed, color, religion and other superstitions. People must be free to believe any religion, to follow any faith or belief. They must not be discriminated on the basis of caste, whatever the caste they belong to. And other baseless superstitions like lots of rules and regulations were made only for girls, so in that society, and only for women. So those kind of baseless superstitions should not be followed at all. The poet meant to say in these lines. Now once again I would like to read. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where itself a question, where? So he had given these conditions. When these superstitions will be finished, and when these caste distinction will be finished, gender discrimination will be finished, and then when people are free to get education, so then there will be a place which the poet wants to see, the poet wants to face and have. Now let's see. Knowledge is free, he has said, so knowledge should be free. It should not be based on the gender discrimination and other caste distinction. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments, he has said, these things fragments the world. As I have said, caste, creed, color, religion, superstitions, these things fragments the world. It creates a wall between the world, which means this fragmentation will not help the world, a place to be united. Where words come out from the depth of truth. Now he is appealing for the truth, as I have written here. Truthful, not superficial. He wants his countrymen, his people, to be honest, to be truthful, not superficial, so they can express their sincere feeling. So he is looking for those sort of people. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Striving means effort. Actually, in this line, where tireless striving stretches its arm, here means continuous effort. So the countrymen, the people should give their continuous effort to make their country free from those domestic walls, those narrow domestic walls, what he had talked about. So, and the country people should move towards the perfection. They always have to try their effort. They have to put their effort continuously without getting tired, so that one day they will get freedom. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Stream of reason, here the poet means that person should be logical, reasonable. They should have their own reasons, rational. So they should not just believe the things like in the superstitions. Strive without getting tired, as in the line just now I read. Rational reason must not be lost among outdated custom and traditions. Customs and traditions made in the society. Very often gets outdated. So because it may be suitable in that time, but it used to be outdated. So poet is appealing that we should not bother about those outdated customs and traditions. Therefore he had said that we should be rational. We must have our own reasons to think. It should not be lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habits. So it should not be, our reason should not be lost in this sand of dead habits, in that outdated customs and traditions. Where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. Ever widening thought and action here mean positive thinking. Positive thinking. The poem sends a message that the society should be free of social evils, disharmony, and unjust. The poet wants a society which is free of social evils, disharmony, and unjust. So poet ले चाहेको समाज चाहिँ अत्याचारबाट मुक्त हुने, अत्याचार नभएको, अन्याय नभएको, अनि जहाँ एकता, सधैँ एकताको साथ मानिसले आफ्नो जिन्दगी जिउनु सक्ने, अनि एउटा रिस्पेक्टको साथ बाँच्नु सक्ने त्यस्तो समाजको कल्पना गरेको यो पोएटले यो पोएममा छ. And where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom. Heaven of freedom. My father, let my country awake. So the poet wants his countrymen to be awakened, to think rationally, logically, and get free themselves through the various these domestic walls and traditions, as the poet has mentioned, like dead habits and domestic walls, which are prejudices, so that their country will be a place like heaven, which will be full of positive thoughts and healthy thinking. So let's see the analysis of this poem. Let's see the form of this poem. The first form used in this poem is, actually this poem is a prose poem. This kind of poem is called a prose poem because it doesn't have any rhymes or patterns, and it doesn't have any metrical pattern, so as in Shakespeare's poem and other poems. So it is just a prose poem. You can see no rhyming words are there. And another form is alliteration. So let's talk about alliteration. Alliteration is one of the figures of speech or kind of literary devices which is used in the poem to project some ideas. Now let's see what is alliteration. Alliteration is the repeated use of same consonant sound at the beginning of each word in a line of verse. Actually, alliteration is the repeated use of the same consonant sound. You can see the repeated same consonant sound like H, head is held. It is the first, and this one where, the word. So repeated, head is held high. So all these consonants are repeated, which is called alliteration. Head is held high. Where, world. And you can also see the first letter D, this consonant, dreary desert, dead, dreary desert, dead. So first letter or the consonant is repeated. This is called alliteration in the poem. So these were the examples of alliterations. It really it makes a poem a little lyrical to hear. And next one, the form is metaphor. And he has used very beautiful metaphor. and metaphor is a figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action that does not literally denote, but there are distinct objects, different objects, but there is a comparison made by the poet. Now let's see. He is making a compare of, this is clear stream of reasons. He had compared a stream with reason. So there are two distinct things is compared. That is metaphor in the poem. Dreary desert, sand of dead habit. So as we see the dreary desert is so vast, full of sand, and he had compared that thing with dead habit, which is full of superstitions and illogical things and thoughts just present in the society. So he had compared, so these are the metaphor he had used in the poem. Now we can come to the next form, that is personification. Personification means here is an very fine example in the poem. It refers to the attribution of human qualities. When poet gives some human qualities to inanimate his ideas, so this is called personification. As he had talked about the tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, like human beings just stretches its arm to do hard work, struggle something, and he had given this to thought. Tireless striving stretches its arms, and you can see a tireless, this is a line, whole line, this contains a personification. So this thought is given a human qualities, attribution of human qualities in this line. So human being as stretches his arms. So this idea is taking the country towards the perfection, to reach its goal of perfection. Now next form we can see is after personification, just now we have seen form. Form contains alliteration, metaphor and personification. Now we are going to see the style. The style the poet has used. Prayer to a universal father figure, and he had said that God, into the freedom, that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. Father here is not his biological father, but universal father, a universal figure. So this style he has used. So he is praying to God, make his country free, all those things, narrow domestic walls. And next we can see is portrayal of the British rule. Now, as I have said that British has ruled India for over 200 years. So let's see portrayal of the British rule, miserable condition of India during the British rule. So India had a miserable condition during the British rule, and so they were really struggling for the freedom of their country. And so these things are highlighted by those ideas given by Rabindranath Tagore. I have written making it a 2-column. So this one is during the British rule, and this is what poet thinks. I just would like to rub this upper one. So here I would like to poet has described this word or phrase, mind without fear. So because there was fear, their country people were full of fear. So he had imagined a world which is without fear. And next we can see head held high. So he is imagining people to live up with dignity without bowing their head down in front of others, in front of Britishers. So they are imagining here head bowed down, here head held high. So he wants his countrymen to uplift his head held high, so live up with dignity, so without any bowing their head in front of others. Next word we can find perfection, because they have lots of imperfection, because they were overruled and they were dominated, his countrymen were dominated by superstitions, caste, creed, religion, lots of gender biasness. So these things shows imperfection, the imperfect society, which he wants to convert it into the perfect society. Then we can see he is appealing for the truth. He wants his countrymen speak truth, not to tell lies. Next we can see free knowledge. As he had talked about free knowledge, knowledge should be free for all. It should not be limited to the upper class people only. So it should be free. It should not be restricted. So during the British rule, mind was full of fear and head was bowed down, because the Britishers were ruling that time, and the society was imperfect because they have lots of domination in the society, political, religious, and caste and gender discrimination, etc., and lies. Because of those habits, because of those environment, people may tell lie to escape themselves. And then restricted knowledge. Knowledge was restricted only to the upper class. Knowledge was just given to the upper class. It was restricted to the other caste. And so he is imagining this thing to happen in his country. Mind without fear, and head should be held high, live up with dignity, and there must be perfection, trying, continuous effort to move towards perfection, to make it good, better, and best, and truth. And the poet is asking for the truth, honesty. So there must be logic, reason should not be lost into the dreary desert of sand, as he said. Then free knowledge, which is available to all, not based on any kind of prejudices. So we find this thing as the poet has said. So we will see some more examples in this poem. So let's recapitulate this poem by highlighting some main points of the poem. So let's see the poem once again. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, the poet has once again said the mind should be fear with all kinds of those things existing in the society. So here I have written point, freedom from oppression. When he talks about freedom, he is talking about the freedom from oppression, where people were exploited. So they were not free to do, free to think, and they were not free to express their thoughts. And where knowledge is free, so it means that so everyone should get knowledge. Everyone should have the rights to acquire knowledge without any prejudices. And then where the world has not been broken up into fragments, the poet doesn't want any fragments. He wants unity. So, and fragments by narrow domestic walls. In narrow domestic walls, there, as I have said, prejudices on the basis of caste, creed, and religion. So it should not be there. He doesn't want to see that. Where words come out from the depth of truth. So he wants his countrymen to be an honest people. So he doesn't want anybody to tell lies. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. So he is telling that there must be a continuous effort. They should move towards perfection. They should not stop. And where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. As he had compared, the dreary desert means very gloomy environment. As I have said that the country was ruled by Britishers that time, and they have a very sort of depression environment in the society, and stream of reason. So those reasons should not be lost in those corruption and other fault things. And where the mind is led forward by the into ever widening thought and action. So he is telling that, so a people thought should be very positive. They should have a very widened thought, and they should always move towards the perfection in thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, as he had addressed this to universal Father, as I have said, that must be God, universal Father, into that heaven of freedom. So he is saying that when there will be no this type of all sort of problems will be end, so there will be a freedom, and that would be like heaven. Let my country awake. So he wants to warn his country people not to lose their belief and faith into the dreary sand of desert, but just believe and hope for the best. So he had talked, freedom expressed in this poem is like freedom from oppression. His people want to be free from those oppression of the rules of Britishers, and freedom of thought and action. And they must be given freedom to express their thoughts and action, and freedom to acquire knowledge. So knowledge should not be discriminated on the basis of gender, caste and creed, and to acquire and to speak truth. So freedom of speaking truth, that must be given, and freedom of mind. So mind should be free to think, and freedom to attain perfection. So these are the things, means always the poet has said and appeal his countrymen to move towards perfection, which means always try hard, not to stop. So यहाँ पोएटले यो 3-4 कुराहरूलाई यहाँ एकदम हाइलाइट गरेको छ. लाइक ब्रिटिसर्सले रुल गर्दाखेरि उनीहरूको कन्ट्रीमा जो अत्याचार उनीहरूले सहनु पर्थ्यो, त्यहाँबाट फ्री हुने अनि आफ्नो विचार अनि सोच्ने क्षमता, त्यसमा फ्रिडम पाउने, अनि त्यसपछि जो शिक्षा, जो सधैँ हायर क्लासले मात्रै शिक्षा लिने राइट्स थियो त्यो बेला, अनि त्यो शिक्षा चाहिँ सबै कमन जनताले पनि पढ्नु पाओस्, लिनु पाओस्, त्यो ज्ञान लिनु पाओस् भन्ने उसको चाहना थियो. एन्ड आफ्नो जो एउटा सोच्ने क्षमता हुन्छ, पोजिटिभ थिङ्किङ हुन्छ, त्यो चाहिँ लस्ट नहोस् भनेर पोएटले यहाँ अपिल गरेको छ आफ्नो कन्ट्रीम्यानलाई. So the poet is telling this thing, that the person should not lose his reasons, and the person should not tell lie, he should tell the truth. And the poet is also comparing the dreary desert and stream of reason with the stream of stream of reason. He had compared the stream with reason. So, and in this way he had highlighted this thing, that we should be free of all kinds of prejudices. So coming to the forms of poem, he had used alliteration, metaphor and personification. As I have said, that alliteration is the repeating of the consonant, repeating of the same consonant at the beginning of the word, like head, held, high. You can find more where the word has not been broken up into fragments. So here, where and word. So these are the alliteration he had used, repetition of the same consonant at the beginning of the word. And then he has also used metaphors. As metaphor example, he has given reason is compared with the stream, and dreary desert is compared with the dead habit. So dead habit, these superstitions, this really makes the society miserable. And then he had talked about the personification, which means, the poet has used attribution of human qualities, means stretching arms like in the poem. So we have talked about the form. This poem is known as prose poem, and it has used figure of speech like alliteration, metaphor and personification. And personification. So just now we have discussed that metaphor is giving human qualities to an object or to an idea as human being stretches its arm moving towards their goal. So he had appealed for those kind of thoughts. And then talking about style, so he had talked about the British rule. In this poem, he had talked about the British rule. So the portrayal of the idea of British rule, and so he had talked about the so many fear in the mind, as mind is full of fear during the time when Britishers have ruled in the country. So people were not free. So mind full of fear. So he wants there must not be any fear. So head should be held high, and people must get the education. All people should get the education, and there must not be no more believe in superstitions, because it is kind of narrow domestic walls, so which fragments the country and it creates a wall. So his poems give a message at last is unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. So even though there are lots of diverse thoughts and opinion and issues in the country, diverse thoughts and issues in the country, the poet wants his country to be unified and struggle for the freedom. Students, let's do some exercise. Please find out some synonyms, some words which is similar to the given words. So that is called synonym, similar meaning. So you have already read the poem and studied the poem. So now let's find out those words from the text only, because in the exam it is instruction is given, find the word which is similar in meaning from the text, not from the outside or from the general. Now pieces, as you have read in the poem, you have found for pieces there was a word fragment. Fragmented was there, so you can write pieces, fragments. And becomes longer and wider. Becomes longer and wider, in that sense stretches is given. Stretches. And next is gloomy. For gloomy there was a word dreary. D-R-E-A-R-Y, dreary. And then the absence of false, which means perfection. So these are the synonyms for pieces. You can find the words in the text or in the poem, that is fragments, becomes longer and wider, stretches, and gloomy, dreary. The absence of false, that is perfection. And now let's see the questions. The questions is given in your book on page number 43. Page number 43. So, What happens if the mind is full of fear? The question is given in this way. So, you can write the answer like, if the mind is full of fear, following things may happen according to the poet given in the poem. I have given in points or bullets, but you can write it in paragraphs. People have to bow down their head, because the very first line of the poem said he is wishing for the country people to make the head held high. So, people have to bow down their head. Knowledge is not free, which means knowledge is just given to the upper class people. It is biased, and prejudices based on caste, creed, color, religion, and other superstitions. So, people have to bow down, full of fear. If the mind is full of fear, यदि हाम्रो माइन्डमा डर छ भने के कुराहरू हुन्छ भनेर क्वेशनमा सोध्दाखेरि अकर्डिङ टु द पोएमको अनुसार अथवा पोएटको अनुसार भन्नुपर्दा यो कुराहरू हुन्छ निम्नलिखित हैन। त्यो चाहिँ के हो भने मान्छे जस्तो डिग्निटीको साथ जिउनु पर्ने भन्ने कुरा पोएटले गर्दाखेरि त्यहाँ चाहिँ के छ भने पिपल ह्याभ टु बाउ डाउन देयर हेड, टाउको शिर झुकाएर हिँड्नुपर्छ किनभने देश स्वतन्त्र छैन। अर्को कुरा नलेज चाहिँ खाली नलेज भन्नाले उच्च वर्गको सोसाइटीलाई मात्रै नलेज दिने, अनि त्यो चाहिँ नलेज अब बायस भयो, नलेज सबैले दिएन, शिक्षा भनेको चिज सबैले प्राप्त हुनुपर्ने हो, अनि त्यो चाहिँ खाली उच्च वर्गको समाजले मात्रै पाउने भएर यो कुरा हुन्छ जब फियर हुन्छ भन्ने अर्थमा। अनि प्रेजुडिसेस भन्नाले जस्तो डिस्क्रिमिनेसन गर्ने, कास्ट, क्रीड, कलर, रिलिजन अनि अरू सुपरस्टिसन जो सोसाइटीमा हुने अन्धविश्वास छ, जस्तो केटीहरूलाई स्कुल पठाउनु हुँदैन, पढाउनु हुँदैन, अथवा विभिन्न जातहरूको यो तलको जात हो, यो उच्च जात हो भनेर जो एउटा डिस्क्रिमिनेसन छ, भेदभाव छ, त्यो भेदभाव चाहिँ हुनु हुँदैन भन्ने अर्थमा हो। सो फुल अफ फियर, माइन्ड फुल अफ फियर भयो भने यो कुराहरू हुन्छ, यो नहुनु पर्ने कुरा भन्ने अर्थमा। नेक्स्ट क्वेसन इज, इन व्हाट सिचुएसन इज नलेज नट फ्री? नलेज कुन बेला फ्री हुँदैन भन्ने क्वेसनको अर्थ, इन व्हाट सिचुएसन नलेज इज फ्री? Knowledge is not free when it is given on the basis of caste and gender distinction. जस्तो अब नलेजले त्यो सानो वर्ग अनि उच्च वर्ग अनि लोवर कास्ट भन्ने आधारमा त्यो शिक्षा बाँडिन थाल्यो भने त्यो चाहिँ नलेज चाहिँ त्यो बायस्ड हो, त्यो नलेज चाहिँ फ्री होइन भन्ने अर्थमा। वाइ इज द वर्ल्ड ब्रोकन अप इन्टु फ्रेगमेन्ट? संसार किन यस्तो बाँडिएको छ भन्ने अर्थमा, ड्यू टु द वर्ल्ड इज ब्रोकन अप इन्टु फ्रेगमेन्ट्स ड्यू टु न्यारो डोमेस्टिक वाल्स विच कन्सिस्ट सुपरस्टिशन्स, जेन्डर डिस्क्रिमिनेसन, discrimination on the basis of caste, color, creed and religion. So, the world is broken up into fragments because of this reason. When there is a superstition, when there is a discrimination, and when people are discriminated on the basis of caste, color, creed and religion. So dear students, this question is, give a couple of examples where reason has lost its way. So the examples may be believing in superstitions. If you believe in superstition, so you are no more logical because you are believing in so outdated superstitious thing. Making a discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, color, religion, gender. And if you make any discrimination, that is also called you have lost the reason according to the poem. Next question is, what does the poet wish for his country? The poet wishes his country to be free of social evils and all kinds of prejudices, that is based on the color, caste and creed and all kinds of discrimination. So I hope you enjoyed the poem and you liked the spirit of nationalism written by Rabindranath Tagore and expressed the love for his country and for his country people. Thank you so much.